Come closer, dear. Sit with me for a while. There's a story I've carried in my heart for many years now. It's about a dear friend of mine. Her name was Margaret. We met a long, long time ago, back when our hair was still dark and our steps were quicker. Oh, she had the warmest smile, the kind that made you feel like everything would be all right, even when it wasn't. Margaret was not extraordinary in the way the world notices, but she was extraordinary in all the ways that truly matter. Margaret grew up in a small town, nothing fancy. Her father worked long hours, and her mother did what she could to keep the home together. She used to tell me, "I never had much, but I always had enough to keep going." And that was Margaret, always keeping going. She didn't go to college. Life didn't give her that chance. Instead, she started working early, first at a diner, then at a grocery store, then later cleaning offices at night. Not glamorous work, but honest work. She worked with her hands, her back, her time, and her youth. In her 20s, she got married. Oh, she was so happy that day. I remember her dress. Simple, but she looked like the happiest woman alive. They didn't have much money, but they had dreams. She and her husband worked hard. They raised 2 children, paid their bills, fixed things when they broke, made do when money was tight. Margaret never complained, not when she worked double shifts, not when she came home exhausted, not even when life got unfair. She used to say, "If I just keep going, one day I'll rest," and she believed that with all her heart. Time, it moves quietly, doesn't it? One day you're young, running through life, and the next you're wondering where all those years went. Margaret worked for decades, different jobs, different uniforms, same effort. But you see, dear, not all jobs take care of you when you grow old. Some don't offer pensions, some don't offer security, some just take your strength and give you a paycheck that barely lasts. And Margaret, she lived paycheck to paycheck for most of her life, not because she was careless, but because life kept asking more than she had to give. Life wasn't always kind to her. Her husband fell ill one year. Medical bills started piling up. She didn't hesitate. She used her savings, every last bit. "What else could I do?" she once told me. "He needed me." Later, there were layoffs. Jobs disappeared. Companies changed. The little stability she had slowly slipped away. And saving money? Oh, that became a luxury she couldn't afford. At 71 years old, now this is the part that still breaks my heart. Margaret turned 71. Do you know what she thought her life would look like by then? She once told me she imagined sitting on a porch, drinking coffee in the morning sun, watching her grandchildren play. A quiet life, a peaceful life. But that's not the life she got. At 71, Margaret was still working. Yes, still working. Every morning before the sun came up, she would slowly get out of bed. Her knees hurt, her back was stiff, her hands trembled just a little, but she had no choice. Bills don't wait, rent doesn't care about your age, and the world, it doesn't slow down just because you're tired. She worked as a cashier, standing for hours under bright lights, smiling at customers. Some people would say, "How inspiring!" But I knew the truth. It wasn't inspiration, it was survival. Margaret never told many people how hard things had become, but sometimes, when it was just the 2 of us, she would open up. She told me about standing in grocery aisles, holding items in her hands, and putting them back. Fresh fruit? Maybe next week. Meat? Too expensive. Sometimes she would whisper, "I just buy what keeps me alive, not what I really need." Oh, that hurt to hear. There were worse choices too. Medicine or food, rent or electricity, doctor visit or gas for the car. Imagine that, dear. After working your whole life, you're still choosing between survival and health. She skipped medication sometimes, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. And then there was the loneliness, that quiet kind, the kind that doesn't shout, but slowly fills the room. Margaret stopped going out much. She would say no to invitations, not because she didn't want to go, but because everything costs money. Coffee with friends, family dinners, birthday gifts. Little by little, her world became smaller. But if you met her, oh, you would never know. She smiled, she laughed, she said, "I'm doing okay." She didn't want her children to worry. She didn't want anyone to see her struggle. That was her pride. That was her strength. And maybe her burden, too. One evening, I remember, we were sitting quietly, and she asked me something I will never forget. She said, "What happens when I can't work anymore?" Not loudly, not dramatically, just softly, like a question she had been holding inside for a long time. And I didn't have an answer, because the truth is, she was afraid of getting sick, losing her home, running out of money, afraid of the future. Was it her fault? Some people might say she should have planned better, but they don't know her story. They don't know the years she worked, the sacrifices she made, the emergencies she survived. Sometimes, dear, it's not that people fail life, it's that life fails them. Margaret's story is not rare. That's what makes it so heavy. There are so many like her, people who worked hard, did everything right, believed they would be safe one day, but never got that safety. The truth I learned. Margaret taught me something very important. Growing old should not feel like this. It should not feel like fear, uncertainty, survival. It should feel like rest, peace, dignity. But for her and so many others, it didn't. The last time I saw Margaret, she was tired, not just physically, but deeply, quietly tired. Yet she still smiled, that same warm smile, and she said, "I made it this far. I'll keep going." Oh, what strength that takes. So, when you see an older person working, standing behind a counter, cleaning a table, bagging groceries, don't just think, "How inspiring." Pause for a moment and wonder, what story are they carrying? Because one day we will all grow old, and the question is not just what will happen to us, but also what kind of world are we building for that moment? Margaret's story, it's not just about her, it's about all of us. And maybe, just maybe, before you go, dear, I want to ask you something. Have you ever met someone like Margaret? Or maybe have you felt something similar in your own life? Sometimes we carry stories quietly, struggles we don't always share. If you feel comfortable, I'd love for you to tell me your story in the comments. Your voice matters here, and you are not alone. And if this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to our channel, Moments We Remember. Because every story deserves to be heard, and every memory deserves a place to live. I'll be right here waiting to hear from you. Yellow.